Have you heard? Metro by T-Mobile now includes Amazon Prime. Yes, enjoy the best of shopping and entertainment, movies, TV shows, music, free shipping, and much more. All included for just $40 per line for 3 lines. All on the T-Mobile network. Discover the smarter way. Metro by T-Mobile. That's genius. One offer per account. Offer subject to change. $12.99 per month value. Offer valid for new Amazon Prime members. Metro customers may notice reduced speeds versus some T-Mobile customers. Video at 480p. Capable device required. See store for details and terms and conditions.
As humanity has been on the path of embracing diversity, one last minority is still unrecognized. Experiencers. These are the contactees, abductees, eyewitnesses, and researchers of the UFO phenomenon, paradimensional realms, and contact with other intelligences. Could it be that some protocol, some map, has been created by our visitors to integrate humanity into Paradigm Galactic? Could this be the experiencer path to disclosure? Welcome to Aquarian Radio, Friday night, with Janet Kira Lessin, Karen Christine Patrick, and the Reverend John Pope, and guests on the experiencer path.
Hello, this is Karen Christine Patrick. Welcome to Aquarian Radio, Friday nights, the Experiencer Path. And today it's just me and Janet and a guest and interesting news. And we're in the middle of the big conference season, so we're going to be recapping several that are going on or have gone on. But first, let me bring on my co-host, Janet Kira Lessin. Hello.
Hi, aloha. Yes, we've been jet-setting around the planet and in cars and driving to conferences all over the continental United States, and each of us have taken a different aspect of the UFO conference movement, and we're going to be talking about that today and perhaps talk about a couple more that are coming up because we really support all of the conferences. That's part of disclosure. Come on out, meet other people of the same mind, same interests, and you'll discover things about yourself you never knew. So I understand that John Polk is still on hiatus. He's moving to Sedona, so he'll be gone for at least another month probably, right, Karen?
As far as I know, we know what a big job moving is, and so we wish him luck, and we'll hear from him whenever he gets clear to speak with us again.
So you have a special guest today. I'll pass the talking stick back to you, and you can bring on our guest. And also there's some announcements about the passing of a dear friend that I know you're going to talk about.
Right.
Back to you, Karen.
First, there's been a huge loss in the UFO conspiracy theory community, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Hoping my guest is on here. Brett, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, yes. This is Brett Shepard, my research and life partner. We are all saddened that we've lost Jim Mars, who passed away yesterday at the age of 73. Brett, if you could mute your mic, it's kind of loud right now, and I'll bring you on when we're going to have commentary. What I was going to do is go ahead and read a obituary that was written on Chron, CHRON.com, under the Texas, I guess they do all the United States, so this would be an announcement under the Texas page, and it's Jim Mars, Texas-based conspiracy theorist and author, dies at 73, and this was yesterday, August 3rd, 2017, article written by Craig Havalsley. Jim Mars, best known for his work researching the various theories surrounding the JFK assassination and UFOs, and a guest on many talk shows, died this week at the age of 73. According to his official Facebook page, he died of a heart attack on Wednesday. he had recently been put on dialysis. A Fort Worth native, he was a mainstay on late-night radio show Coast to Coast AM and the Alex Jones InfoWars program. In late June, Mars posted a note on his official website that said he was suspending work on the site to address his health issues. According to his online biography, Mars was a former Fort Worth Star-Telegram staffer starting in 1968 and was a police reporter and general assignments reporter. After a stint serving in the Army in Vietnam, he came back home and began to write about military and aerospace technology. His 1989 book, Crossfire, The Plot That Killed Kennedy, was a New York Times paperback nonfiction bestseller and became the basis for the Oliver Stone film JFK in 1991. He served as a chief consultant for the film. He had taught a course on the 1963 killing of the president at the University of Texas at Arlington starting in 1976. He retired in 2007. Mars could usually be found in Dealey Plaza in Dallas on the anniversary of the assassination every November 22nd, talking to fans and speaking with the media in front of the so-called grassy knoll, ground zero for conspiracy theorists. His work on 9/11 dealt with what he called an inconsistent public story on the terrorist attacks. Other Mars books included Spies, Alien Agenda, Rule by Secrecy, The War on Freedom, The Terror Conspiracy, and The Rise of the Fourth Reich, all of which were met with praise by a devoted community of skeptics, if not mainstream audiences. And I must say, on the past 2 days, the outpouring of grief and just remembrance with the community that we are involved with has been just overwhelming. He really touched a lot of lives. And Janet, I know that you've had him on Aquarian Radio a number of times. Would you like to talk about that?
Yes, I did, and I'm not sure what the dates are. I was just about to pull it up and see what comes up in my search. I think we have him on a show that you were a co-host as well one time.
It was either earlier this year or late last year, I don't recall, but we did, have, I guess, Aquarian's last interview of him. I know that he was also supposed to speak at the Aurora, Texas UFO Festival, and he already was having health issues that he was not able to attend that. So, he kind of finished activities in June.
Right, he did not make it to UFO Congress. I mean, not UFO Congress, Contact in the Desert. He was scheduled, and I think that was around when he discovered that he was going to need dialysis or whatever. His kidneys were failing. So, unfortunately, he was not able to join us that would have been like his final hurrah at a very super large audience. But he did call in. So I happened to be in the audience. He called in to tell everybody he wished he was there, and I have his Skype connection because he was on my show, and it keeps coming on. It's almost like a ghost. It says Jim Mars is online. I'm sure it's a family member, but it's very interesting. Even the last week or so before his passing, his Skype account was super active. I kept seeing him or someone in his family jumping online. So. Our thoughts and prayers and love go out to his family, and we wish Jim a wonderful journey into the cosmos. I hope it's all pure love and light and blessings, and he's blazing the trail for all of us yet to come. But maybe we'll find the cure for all diseases and the secret to physical immortality. And then the veil will be pierced, and we'll have both sides of the veil and have a big, happy family reunion. But he's a wonderful person, and I met him several different conferences over the years and watched his presentations, and they were very diverse. He was an expert on many of the subtopics under the ufology, conspiracy, umbrella, and he was quite articulate and big-hearted, and you could see him with his wonderful hats from across the room.
Oh, yeah, he was a Texan. Had to have his hat. For sure. That's what a lot of people knew him by, you know.
Yeah. God bless Jim. Oh, well.
Yeah. He also they didn't mention it in the article, but he was on Ancient Aliens, I think, quite a few times. I know newer people that have gotten onto this topic knew him from that experience as well. He was just incredibly well-versed in so many subtopics, like you were saying. I mean, just very intelligent, and his range of books was very interesting, all the different topics. And he was who, what, why, where newspaper man, journalist, where he would just get the whole story and get the facts, and that's something a lot of people really appreciated about him. Brett, are you around to make a comment? Because I knew that you were supposed to meet him in Aurora.
Well, yeah. I guess me and Ken were going to speak, and it wasn't really Aurora. The town was called Edinburgh, Texas. And me and Ken were supposed to speak there and go meet him, and I'm really sorry that I didn't get a chance to do that. Jim Mars was very instrumental in the 9/11 Truth movement, with everything about George Bush and all of that mess, and he was the follow the money guy, and he got a lot of people really thinking about what really happened on 9/11 tragedy. And it was a big false flag operation, according to him, and I believe that as well. It's that he's done an enormous amount of work. It wasn't just the 9/11 stuff. He did a lot of the work for the JFK, different conspiracies surrounding that, and he really wasn't a theorist. He went after the facts. He didn't theorize about anything. They did it is because they did it. That was his attitude. And, like I said, he was very well aware that presidents were just basically puppets, around that time when all of that was going on, and we were, deep in the Bush dynasty, which goes all the way back to Nazi Germany, apparently. And these are some things, that where these insider families are running the country, and that's why I always said follow the money, because it's not about the talking head. It's not about the Hitlers or the Mussolinis or the propaganda person that's giving the speech. Somebody wrote that speech. Somebody is behind those actions, and there are people that are behind the actions all the way at the top, and there's people right underneath that talking head that are doing all of these insidious actions. When we're talking about big government conspiracies or something like that, he was very well respected as a journalist, and that never diminished. As far as that goes, he was not considered a crackpot or a kook or anything like that. He was very well respected. He was also a freelance writer, as you had mentioned, a lot of different books, and he did a lot of cable television shows and many videos on YouTube and interviews and all of that. I really, it's a shock, to hear that he's gone, especially when I was going to go meet him, that kind of sucks, But yeah, it was at a World UFO conference in Edinburgh, Texas, and we were supposed to go down there, and I was going to talk with Ken, about some of these lunar anomalies, which he was also very vocal about, whether we went to the moon or not, and not just if we went to the moon or not, but what are they hiding on the moon specifically, because he knew that they had faked lunar lander footage and images and all of that. He been around quite a while early on in the anomaly scene. He wrote extensively, about the cabal and about NASA being a front organization. So he was one of those that really went after the facts, and he got the story out there. And a lot of times when we get the story out there, it's very much ignored by the mainstream media, of course, because he also used to talk about how that was also manipulated and controlled, and it was something that was in complete control, or the Rupert Murdochs and these different people are completely controlling it for the CIA and all of that. So he did so much work for us. Different researchers would always refer back to his work, and he did a lot of putting things together, connecting dots, and so on. So he did bring a lot of people together, and he touched many lives, like you said. And that's pretty much what I have to say about that.
Well, he will be missed, and we do want to give our condolences to the family and to kind of our research family who's all, thinking about that, realizing the time is short. Hopefully, we all take that as it's always time to be getting work out and continuing the research and to, remember his legacy. And it was quite diverse and quite broad and wide and deep, and we'll be building on it for many years to come, I'm sure. Since you talked about conferences, that is the theme of the show today, because there's been so many. We've been all busy for the last 2 months. I wanted to give us a chance to recap some of the recent conferences from the last time we were talking about some we were going to go to, and then we have actually been to those. And I want to go ahead and give Brett the floor first, because I know he won't be staying for the whole show, and to talk about the Dulce-based conference. The Dulce-based conference had the unfortunate situation of being the same weekend as the 70th anniversary of the Roswell Crash Festival, so we had to split our resources in our little research household here. And I went with Brett's daughter Cheyenne to the 70th anniversary of Roswell event, and I've reported some on it, and I'll have more information coming out as well. But I really missed a chance to be at the Dulce one as a result, and they promise they're not going to plan it on the same. Roswell was there first, and they're always 4th of July weekend, so we're hoping our friends at the Dulce-based conference will do it on a different weekend for the sake of us fans of all this stuff in New Mexico. So, Brett, if you could talk about the Dulce-based conference and kind of what happened, and just give us the rundown.
Well, the Dulce-based conference, in my opinion, was a lot more experiencer-based, So there was a lot of people there that had all of these very interesting experiences, as well as what I call definitive proof of some of these things. They were talking about Bigfoot, and they had the guy there that was on Bigfoot Hunters, and I apologize, I forget his name, but I talked to him for like 4 or 5 hours one evening. Actually, I didn't ask his name. I just talked to him, but he sat there and explained to me that he's seen Bigfoot so many times that he could go out there right now and find Bigfoot. And while we were sitting there, we actually heard Bigfoot out in the forest, making a cry and some noises.
You might want to tell where you were, because that would explain why Bigfoot was around.
Well, yeah, we were up in northern New Mexico, where it's very forested, and it's right butt up next to southern Colorado. So lots of pine trees, lots of areas that are heavily forested, and it's also very unique because it has hills and mountains and mesas. And we were right there next to Archuleta Mesa, where it said that there is an underground base there, and other, military secret government projects are supposedly going on there. We had someone interview us, and she interviewed me and Ken at near the end of the conference, and as well as all of the other speakers. Travis Walton made it up there after Roswell on his way home to Snowflake, and this gal, was talking to me about the lunar images and seeing things in the images, and I was explaining to her, that there's a lot of light information in those images, and you can see orbs and all kinds of embedded imagery that is almost artistic in nature. It looks very much on purpose, and I said it's a good idea to look at your images. And she contacted me back later and told me that she was looking at the images they took up at Archuleta Mesa, and she was seeing all kinds of ET grays and alien faces and all of this stuff, and they are very telling, and they almost tell them themselves, these images. So anyway, the conference went extremely well. It was very successful, and the organizer that put it together, Lorraine Willis, I believe, they kind of have a running joke, because she always says, I'm not going to do this next year. But this year she didn't say that, So I think that she had a very successful and very pleasant conference, and we hope that she will always do the Dulce Base conference, because it was wonderful. It was up on the Jicarilla reservation, the Apache reservation, and we got to meet all of the locals there, and they were wonderful. Some of them have been on television numerous times. We had the Navajo Rangers were up there, and they were one of the speakers, and they were talking about getting calls, about paranormal subjects, and these guys are the ones that are out there first to see whatever's going on. And they said that they've had an extraordinary amount of evidence of UFO landings, Bigfoot, and various different things. And there was also Ruth Ann Friend, if I'm saying that right. And let's see. Yes, Ruth Ann Friend. And she's an author, and she talked about her connection with her son, and it was very beautiful, what she was talking about, that her son and different entities leave things in her house, on the stoop or on the over by the door or something like that. And she's taken pictures and tried to, at least somewhat record all of these things that are the strange happenings that are going around in her house. And we also had Joanne Richards, and I believe that Janet has interviewed her, and she was talking about the military's relationship with the reptilians, and very numerous things, mostly about what her husband has said from jail. He's a political prisoner, apparently, or they've got him away so that he doesn't say some of these things, because he's high up military. And we also had different locals that were telling of their experiences, and I met this wonderful elderly woman who was on their news channel, and she was talking about her experience with the extraterrestrial craft that were coming over the hill. A very, very interesting group of people, and I had a wonderful time. I sat right across from Richard Smith and Linda Smith, and they're fairly newly married, and Linda has a new book coming out. Richard had his book there, The Moors and the Masons, and he was talking about all of that. Wonderful speakers. Richard was really nailing the history of everything that was going on during that time period over in Europe, and really tying it into the masonry, the Scottish Rite Masonry that we currently have. Wonderful topics. And we had Ken Johnston, and I was helping him as well, and he actually called me up on stage, to explain some of the stranger slides with extraterrestrials and that. So I was happy to do that, and we had Travis Walton who presented his movie again at the Dulce Base conference, and talked about some of the facts about some extraterrestrials that he was personally involved with. So wonderful speakers. We had it was well recorded by local college students who are doing a thesis, and they're currently making a documentary about that. And I believe next year will be even better.
Oh, excellent. That's a great rundown. And, yeah, like I said, for the sake of us New Mexicans, I hope they have these things spread out a little bit better, because we just want to be involved in all of that. We just think it's to support it, and we're so glad that they had it at the Wild Horse Casino, too, by the way. I want to mention that. So when people are looking for this conference on the schedule next year, they kind of know, like, where it's located and all. But, yeah, wonderful group. And, Brett, if you had a last comment or anything else you wanted to say about, we've sure had a busy year, and then we'll move on to talk about other conferences.
No, that's about it on the Dulce Base one.
I feel like you missed somebody, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
Let's see, who would I have missed? Oh, boy.
I know, Chuck Wade.
Yes, Chuck and Nancy Wade were also there. And they were talking about their up and coming UFO film festival that they hold in Gallup, New Mexico, and that'll be in October if you guys want to get on the internet and look for that. Chuck is a wonderful speaker, and he was speaking about the St. Augustine UFO crash shortly after the Roswell crash, and a lot came out of that in particular, and it's been a very strange year for us. We were in Silver City, and we came up through that way and stopped at the very large array. And I was thinking that they had built that right after the the St. Augustine crash around that area on the St. Augustine Plains. And it seems to me that they were already starting to communicate with extraterrestrials on the moon and out in space through relay dishes and that. A lot of people think that they just get some kind of sound file from that, but they actually get pictures through frequency with that dish array. They get wonderful space images and as well as other, I'm sure, other images that aren't really shown to the public. But yeah, these are wonderful cases that are presented at the Dulce Base, and Chuck Wade's and his wife Nancy are a great team, and they're putting together that UFO film festival that me and Karen are going to go speak at.
Yep, we are speaking.
Yep. And
they want us to talk about UFOs, so we're recapping our information and updating. It's not always the front topic for us, but it's, I've seen a UFO, quite a few, but one really close. You've seen a couple really, really close. They want us to share our experiences, so I'm excited about that. Yeah. And it's just us. We're going to be talking about that. And I think it's chuckwade.ufo.com, but don't quote me on that. But that'll be the 21st, weekend of the 21st in October. And that's going to be a hoot. It's going to be fun.
That'll be fun.
Well, thank you, Brett, for coming on and talking about all of that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. Well, next I'd like to bring in Janet, because Janet has been to, Janet and Sasha had planes, trains, and automobiles. You guys traveled so much in the last few weeks, and do you remember all of it? You've got over jet lag. You're ready to go.
Oh, yeah. I'm recovering. It's this time of day I start to fade. It's like I need a nappy poo. But I'm okay. I'll just get my second win. So I'm going to pull up, my computer's acting up, but I was at the MUFON Symposium. Excuse me. Let me get the dates. 1 second here. It started on the the 21st is when I started participating. They had a day doing a lot of the the MUFON things that they do, the formal things. They went out to Area 51. There was another group doing some sky watching. But the main thing, and let me get this computer activated, of course it's not working very well, was the secret space program symposium, and they had a lot of the, I call them the A-listers. They had, there were two people I wanted to meet that was on my bucket list. It was William Tompkins and his co-author, Bob Wood. And I got to, it was so amazing. I got to my vendor table, and they have a bunch of author tables. And I sit down at my vendor table, and of course you don't know where it is until you get there. I sit down, and I'm directly across from Bob Wood and William Tompkins, and that was like two of my bucket lists. I said, I've got to meet the two of them because they're right there. Although that's not always true, because Corey Good never sat at this table even once. So some people, they get tables and they just don't sit at them. They're too busy being around. And I don't think it's anything, bad or intentional, but sometimes they never get to their desk, their table, especially after their presentation. But I helped Bob and I helped William, get to their tables, and I helped people like, okay, let's not rush them, one at a time. And this other young lady, the two of us got in there, and we were helping so that they could get their all these books sold. We sold every book for them. Like, you just can't talk to them. If you want to talk to them, you got to buy a book. So that was good. We sold every single book. Bill Tompkins and Bob Wood, they're both in their 90s, and they're, I think Mary Tompkins, I'm not sure how old she is, but she's Bob's lifelong wife and partner, and she's in probably her late 80s, and it's like, well, come on, people, let's buy all these books so they don't have to get any of them home. And it was really not a hard sell. People go, oh, sure, yeah, I want one for sure, especially when they're autographed. So that was a lot of fun. And I did not speak at this one, but it was very controversial because right before the event started, Richard Dolan put out a series of articles addressing this, and I'm sorry, my computer's deciding to act up right when I'm trying to get on. It wasn't working, and then all of a sudden it's not working. But he was kind of doing the setup for the controversy, kind of nuts and bolts versus secret space program, and how, and it's a dilemma. How, when you're in a secret space program that doesn't exist, can you get the nuts and bolts FOIA, type of evidence, so-called evidence? It's not going to happen. In fact, if you're running around with a bunch of evidence, you're probably not really a part of the secret space program, because that's what makes it so secret. You don't get those to bring those things out into the world. It's just not happening, and that's part of the dilemma. Sometimes they give you a screen, kind of like a surface job, and that's the only way you get any kind of benefits. So at the second conference, I got to sit and hang out with Randy Kramer, and he talks about being in the 30 or 20 and back program 3 times. So he's, actually served over 60 years. And I asked him at breakfast, I said, Randy, how old are you really? And he says he's 81. So a lot of these secret space program people have been in it, 60 years, and they're actually in their 80s. But, of course, they've been reversed back to 20 and back. And so they don't look at, nor do they have the physiological side effects of being an 80-plus-year-old. But they have 80-plus years of experience, of life experience, and things that they've endured. And so whether it's conscious or subconscious, it's still within their form, which has been reverted back to a young age over and over, and they time travel you back to protect the family so they're not aware of the missing. Talk about missing time. I have 20 years missing, and I was on another planet. So that was the second conference at Yelm in Yelm, Washington. So MUFON Symposium was kind of serious, and there was a panel, there was a big debate, and the nuts and bolts people were questioning the program people, and they had like one side against the other, and the moderator was leaning towards the nuts and bolts, and it was a lot of fun, but it was pretty intense. And I think the lead up with the series of interviews on YouTube with Bill Ryan and Richard Dolan added to the hype. And I know Andrew Masago had done some commentaries from his perspective. So, that type of energy, hype, and conflict, it sells. It sells tickets. So MUFON appears to have had its best turnout ever, even though Jan Harsom got criticized for, inviting all these people. But Jan said, I just want to give a plat beside. So that was MUFON Symposium. And my computer is still acting up. Will it let me pull up MUFON Symposium so I can give you the whole rundown? It seems lately that these conferences have a, one or two or more catastrophes. I know there was a gentleman that was supposed to speak at the dinner, and he had a heart attack. So here we have Jim Mars passing of a heart attack. The other gentleman did not pass, but he certainly was not able to present. And so 1 second, my computer is working. I'll hear they're going to have it in Pennsylvania, in not Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. And I doubt if I'll be able to make it there. That's such a long journey for me.
Oh, that's a way long way, yeah.
Yeah, that's like, but if I'm there, I have no idea anymore where I'm going to be. I just got home and starting to recover, and I just got an invite to go back to, I'm not liberty to talk about it, but there's two films that are coming to pass. The one film might actually be a television series, and I got invites to participate either as a what do you call it, where you give them background information, right? So we'll see.
Oh, like a consultant, kind of? Like a consultant?
That's the word. Oh, shoot, they've got this sound. Quiet. I think websites, when you design them, do not have a video that launches as soon as it goes live, because sometimes somebody else is sleeping in the room, or you're not where you're supposed to have a video playing. Okay, so MUFONSymposium.com. The speakers were Richard Dolan, Mark McCandless, Michael Schratt. Oh, Michael Sala was excellent. He's every time I see Michael, the more I see him, the more I like him. I didn't quite connect with him for a couple of years there because we weren't hanging in the same circles. But now I'm getting to know him more and more. I've had him on a show several times, and he's one of the really, really good guys. William Tompkins, Corey Good, Gary McKinnon. Boy, he explained what happened to him. I don't think you want to hack. He was facing 75 years. The rest of his life is. Did he happen to mention if the United States is still pursuing extradition, or did they finally give up? I don't think it's over. He's still there. He's I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, so don't quote me. John Brandenburg, Ph.D., Cheryl Jones, James Woodward, Bob Wood, and Andrew Bashago and Debbie Ziegelmeyer with Cheryl Jones as the moderator for the panel. So it was enough controversy. But it was a great event. If they keep up this quality, they're going to be very, very successful. It was very, very good. So I'm going to check in.
It was. There was controversy going into it at MUFON in general. So MUFON has got a lot of different sides to it, and there's been controversy about some of the leadership. So it didn't seem to affect ticket sales, so that's interesting. I wasn't real fond of Richard Dolan's comments, mostly because I know Andy Bijago, and I have heard, a lot of people are saying, where's your proof, where your evidence, has not actually listened to the person present. Andy's a lawyer, so his presentation, he has lots of dates, times, who's who, stuff to follow up on, and everything I've been able to follow up on with Andy has been very intriguing material. And like you said, how are you supposed to have, proof? If you do have, they're probably still going to keep you gagged under some kind of secrecy order if you do have proof. So,
right. Right.
And also, what proof would they accept? So when people demand proof, I'm going, what proof would constitute something you would accept? Because there's plenty of data and artifacts and all kinds of stuff that get argued away.
Michael Sala does his research, and he has over 100 pieces of documentation from the FOIA Act, which supports things that Andy said and Corey Good has said. Michael's a very thorough researcher, but
right.
It just seems like whenever Michael or Andy or poor William Tompkins, he's soft-spoken. He's just a very soft-spoken, sweet man, and Corey, whenever they would speak, the moderator seemed to cut them off, and so it was very controversial. The moderator got Andy out 15 minutes before everybody else was left out of this venue where we're doing the panel. And it's like, foul, fair, unfair. Because Andy was winning this debate because he's an attorney. He's a top-level attorney. He knows how to do debates. You don't want to debate Andy. So anyway, enough of that. And, I thought it was a good show. And in some ways all perfect because it was, one of the things we always say is, that's entertainment. If it isn't entertaining, people sleep and they don't want to go. So it was engaging and entertaining and exciting, and people were buzzing and talking about it. And, we tend to judge things was that perfect, was that good, that was that bad, what was that in between. And it was probably perfect just the way it was, even though every, there's all kinds of words going in afterwards. It was, I don't know, I just kind of said, well, it's what it was, and you can't change the past, so just move forward. So that was great. So let me pull up the Yelm. The Yelm people don't have a separate site for their conference. This was the first year for the Yelm UFO Fest. And
I'd like to. I can say a few things about it just because I used to live about 25 miles away from Yelm. So I'm out here in New Mexico now, but I used to live in Rochester, Washington. And so I know about the Yelm community, and I was interested in the fact that it was well publicized. I know people who promote events in Thurston County and Lewis County there, and they were talking it up, and I was really surprised because in the past events have been more difficult to get, onto events calendars, but there was nice write-ups in different venues about the UFO festival, and I want to make a note of the fact that Washington State, or Yelm, is going towards Mount Rainier, and Mount Rainier is, of course, the famous Kenneth Arnold sighting, so out in Yakima is a very good hot spot. Also, Trout Lake, Washington, down there with East Eddy Ranch. Washington State really has a lot going on as far as historically and up to the present moment of UFO sightings, and a great group of researchers. So I'm glad somebody, I knew there was a UFO festival in I think it was Burien, Washington. I don't think they're doing it this year. So I was glad to see Yelm step up to the plate and have an event. And apparently they had a festival style, so it had a conference, but it also had like music and booths and all that kind of stuff. So I'm yay for Yelm, the little town of Yelm, coming up with this as a topic to have a festival around. I think it stands to be quite successful. And then, oh boy, I wanted to be there. We were at another event I'll talk about later, but I think next year I'm going to try to make sure I'm there because it gives me a chance to visit my family there too. So it seemed like it was a good roster.
Yeah, everybody loved it. Sasha was going, boy, this is a great place to live. That was one thing. It was such a peaceful vibe. Kind of reminded me of Mayberry, like Mayberry West, right?
Pretty much. It's a quaint town, definitely.
Wait, I almost felt like I had taken a time, I've been in a time traveling ship, and I went back to the 60s or, a much simpler time. And everybody was very friendly. Everywhere you went, friendly people. I didn't see any controversy. The only thing that was negative was happening is they have a lot of fires. It was so dry, and I didn't actually see any fires. But they're very good fire companies. The volunteers or the people that work for these fire stations. I kept hearing, ooh, it's like,
oh yeah, it's a dry time of year, and it's been extra dry. British Columbia, not too far north from there, had horrifying fires, and they can get them there in that area, but they do stay on top of it.
Well, good thing they did, because it's horrible when a forest fire gets a hold of this. And, 2 years ago we lost Carbon Hot Springs and all those beautiful homes in Northern California for acres and acres and miles, and so it can get away. So I'm glad they were on it, and I never felt that threatened it at all. Now I'm trying to find the lineup. Let's see if this.
I kind of know it off the top of my head. Is let's see, you and Sasha and Alfred Weber came in by. I think he called in. Andrew Brashago, Laura Eisenhower. I think it was Corey. Was it Corey Good and Randy Kramer also?
No, it wasn't Corey Good. It was Randy Kramer. And Randy was very good. Captain Randy. Here, I found it. Dr. Michael Ledwitz, they call him Mihal. I was calling him Michael. It's Miceal, Mihal. And he's a lovely man. He is a former priest. But he was very knowledgeable and personable, and we had a good time with him. The other one that you had forgotten is Scott Mowry. He's a UFO ancient alien sighting searcher. That's my cat that's almost 20 years old.
Oh, I know Scott. Yeah, I know Scott. Before they did Yelm downtown in the theater there, they had a something called the Awakening Center, and I talked to Scott on a number of occasions when Andy came to the Awakening Center and spoke, and that was when he lived in Washington State. He was there a couple of times, and Scott's a very positive guy and is up on all these types of topics, and he's a great. I would imagine he's involved in the organizing. If he isn't, he's definitely done a lot of work in the past.
Well, he seems to be a regular at the Yelm Theater. They have a theater, a triad theater they call it, and it's an old theater. It's got a lot of couches in there, and no two chairs or no. It's not, there's several rows of chairs that are like this. Most all the chairs are different, and it's very interesting, laid back but friendly. And I think I heard it seats about 100 people, and so apparently Scott is a regular. And also Mihal Ledwith is a regular. And we also got to go up to J.C. Knight's ranch. And what a beautiful facility. Amazing. This large kind of, I don't know what to call it. It's like a barn, but not a barn. It's huge. It's giant. I think it seats thousands of people. One of the biggest venues I've seen under one roof. That's not like in a hotel, right? For a long time, it's every bit as big as the rooms that we have in a hotel. Reminds me of UFO Congress in size, but it might even be bigger than that one. But she doesn't have seats in there. What people do is they bring their own seats, and they usually lay out a tarp or something, and it's always like they're having a picnic, and they have little tarps laid out with all their people. And there was this, JC was a very good speaker, and she's very interesting, but there was this little girl playing off in the corner, and she was with her mother, and my eye kept going and watching this cute little girl playing, and she was still in the show. Let's see who else. Ben.
Oh yeah.
Sunday morning, and that was lovely. I had never really met Simon, but and Jane and everybody, they treated us like royalty. They were really warm and friendly and welcoming, and all of us had nothing but real kind and loving best words for each other. And I brought 50 books and I sold out, and I think I took 3 or 4 books home with me. It was, just so we would have some books at home. But anyway, they put us in front, and because it was like we had this front row seat conversation with Simon Parks, and I asked Simon about because they were talking about the global economic reset, and I asked him about the basic minimum needs economy. That it's fine and dandy to have money, but how are we going to meet the needs of humanity, of the average human person that's got 1 foot from being out in the street, and millions of people starve every year. It's like that's a level 0 civilization, maybe a level -1 civilization. What can we do to create at least a level 1 civilization for humanity? So I can't remember what he said because I'm so jet lagged now. But Jane is going to edit all this into kind of like a Woodstock. She called it Yelm stock for a while there. And there was a sculpture of a UFO that was started by the guy who does Burning Man sculptures, and he also does Hollywood sculptures. And they started it, and they didn't get it quite over to the festival field because it needed a flatbed. So we were heading out the door because I've got a lot of film footage of it. It was in a different location. Those people didn't get it there, but next year they'll get it. It's apparently a spaceship with the aliens around it, and it's going to grow. She said every year the artist will add to it, and it's going to be a permanent piece for their town. So the whole town was behind it.
Oh, wow. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So,
So they're going to have it year-round, displayed somewhere year-round?
I think so. And, don't quote me, but I think that's what she was saying. She's going to put it somewhere, or definitely it's going to be brought out. They just couldn't do logistics on it. They didn't realize how heavy it was going to get. The artist was doing it live. But
I see.
I don't know if he did do it on the festival ground. He did it in a different location. But I think next year, though, it's good to see the artist at work. So, but I've participated just as a consumer for about 10, 11, 12 years at the Central Pennsylvania Festival of the Arts. And I know that there are artists that make all kinds of things that are like gypsies, and they go across the country to these festivals, and they go, north in the summer, and they go down to Florida. They're just like the old circus, right? They follow the routes according to the weather, and they do these arts festivals. To Jane, whenever she's recuperating from all this, and suggest she finds some UFO-related artists that might want to do the circuit. I mean, they could make all kinds of things, pottery, whatever, all kinds of.
I saw all those people with that stuff in Roswell. So anywhere from necklaces to jewelry to alien heads to, oh my goodness, how much that theme stuff, and it's very popular. People really, they had one of the local where all the artists in Roswell had a gallery, and so it was sort of regular art stuff, but a lot of UFO themed art stuff. I think this is a market. There's a lot of interest. I think this will grow. There has been needing something in the Pacific Northwest on this topic for quite some time, so I'm excited. I want to get a hold of Jane too, because I can send some other information her way. But I mean, I'm very excited about it because, hey, if they'd have had it when I was living back there, I'd have been helping out and going every year for sure.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't have moved. Yeah. Well, they also had James Dimmelland on Friday. I missed James because I was just coming in, and I was getting settled, and I didn't get up to that part because James was late, and it's like, oh no, I can't do late because I had to get up early the next day. So, I wish I could clone myself so I wasn't so tired trying to get to everything. But it was very festive. There was a lot of food vendors, different things. They had a giant spaceship you could bounce on and slide down. It was fun. Jane did this in 3 months' time. She and one other volunteer.
Oh my goodness! Wow, that's kind of amazing. And it was being shared as a family event on the various advertisement venues. And I talked to George Sharp, who works at the Thurston County, where they have promote tourism and all. And he asked me a couple of years ago if I would do a ghost tour because I knew, kind of where some of the ghost activity was in Olympia. But he was promoting it on his Facebook and everything, and I told him that, kind of what the Northwest legacy in UFOs was, and they have only one way to go, and that's up, I do believe. So that's exciting.
Yeah, so plan on it for next year. They're going to grow. This is going to take off. The Central Pennsylvania Festival of the Arts had over 200,000 people go through their town.
Wow.
And it was probably about the same size as Yelm. But I'm not sure. Penn State, that's where Penn State University is, and they had enough hotels. So I don't know, Yelm, if this is going to be another thing that...
Yeah, they're going to have a shortage on that for sure.
Places to stay. I guess Roswell, you were at Roswell. You want to tell us about... I'll pass the
Yeah, I did a little bit. I believe I said something about it a while back, but what I am putting together is I've been so busy I haven't had a chance to finish, but I did short interviews of people. I have a phone app, and I did short interviews of people that I'm putting together because it was the 70th anniversary. So just be watching for that. When I get that whole project done, I'll be putting it up on AquarianRadio.com as a post. I've been having problems with my audio editor, and now it's working better. I can get all those put together. It's kind of one sort of a podcast, and I'll be sure to share it with everyone. But where we were when you guys were in Yelm, Brett and myself and Brett's daughter Cheyenne, we were in Hooper, Colorado at the Cosmic Highway conference. And man, that's a really interesting event on all kinds of scales. It's a UFO hotspot, but we had inclement, crazy weather. So the night we were doing night watches, you pretty much couldn't see the sky. So unless our alien friends were going to swoop under the clouds, as they have been known to do in some places, we weren't going to see much there. But we had a really great time. This was a big chance for my family to test our camping equipment. The first thing that happened after most of us all got our tents up that were doing the camping part was we had torrential rain. So it was kind of baptism of your test of your tent. And because I come from the Pacific Northwest, I know about blue tarp camping. So I got the family to put up a blue tarp over our tent and between our tent and the car. And we stayed pretty dry. So it's all those years of being a scoutmaster's daughter and camping in the Northwest came in really handy. And anyway, the speakers roster was really cool. With Misha Johnston, she was in Las Vegas, and she was also at the Cosmic Highway event. I know that she probably was next to a table or something like that at MUFON. Was that correct? She's usually nearby you guys.
MUFON, and I knew about this event that you were going to, so that was very interesting that you went to the same place that Misha did. And, when you were talking about the tarps, I was having a flashback to a time I was camping with my second husband, and it rained caterpillars. I don't know.
Oh, weird. Oh, that's a Charles Fordian event. That's weird. Oh, that's so strange.
You know,
but really, like caterpillars, like moth ones or butterfly ones?
Oh, these were they were still the little caterpillars, and they were very fragile. They would, if you stepped on them, they burst out green blood or whatever, guts everywhere.
Ew.
And I remember we were trying to set up like you did. My second husband was a camper, right? You know, he was very good at it. So he just brought the blue tarps, and he was setting it all up. And it started to rain, and the trees, we were over by the trees, and all of a sudden there were caterpillars everywhere. And we were so grossed out that let's get out of here. We thought we had the campground all to ourselves.
Oh, man.
Little did we know that they were all laughing at us like, they're going to try camping in caterpillar season?
Oh, I guess that's a thing, huh? Oh, they were in the trees. All right. I thought maybe it was a Charles Fort rain of critters from the sky. One of those weird, bizarre anomaly things, but it was just caterpillar season, I guess. We had a lot of New Mexico ants, and because it rained so heavy, we actually had mosquito issues, but we were able to, use our wits to keep that down to a minimum. But, yeah, it was hadn't camped in a while, so it was very interesting, and we had did pretty good on all of our gear except we forgot a can opener. So we were like, okay, what do we do? So we had to go to town for one thing. But it was like, okay, next year that checklist. We always tell ourselves we're going to have a checklist. But forgetting a can opener is unconscionable. But, yeah, it was
a bag that has certain essentials packed in it, and it just stays.
Yeah, that's what we should do is be ready to go. Because we want to camp when the weather gets cooler here. Brett loves to go fishing, so we got that planned. And also, I don't think we're going to be camping when we go up to Gallup, but I kind of wanted to go back to Chaco Canyon right after the conference in Scottsdale, UFO Congress. Our friend and us, we went to Chaco. If we'd had the gear, we probably would have camped up there. Fascinating place, and there's some decent campgrounds there, except, that has got weird weather right there. But, yeah, it's like, okay, it's I'd like to glamp. I'd like to be in something like a hotel would be great. But I don't mind it because I grew up with it.
I think it would be great if you had a large, camping vehicle where you'd have to get out there in your tent.
Yeah, lots of people have RVs. They're smarter than us.
Yeah, nice RV. You don't even have to, raise or lower it or just drive it.
But it was pleasant anyway. It was cool. At least cool weather. I guess last year was horribly hot. At least we caught cool weather, and the people were wonderful. Judy Messline runs the UFO Watchtower, and it's kind of like a geodesic dome with a platform on it for viewing at night when we have better weather, and it has a camping area, and then there was kind of a small conference area. There was like a caterer so people could get some meals. We brought our own food, so we were okay there. And the speakers, we had Misha. Misha was fantastic. Of course, she talked about MK Ultra stuff and had a very weird interlude with Brett, because Brett and she were in some of the same MK Ultra type programs. And so they found a common link between the two of them, so they had a big chat up about that, and that was interesting. She brought David Adair, and he was really, first of all, he's funny. He's got a great sense of humor. He's a very, very intelligent person, so he's been involved in alternative ideas of how to do propulsion of rocketry. They didn't really use his ideas, but if they had, it would have been interesting in our space race. And he actually has a website called Fall from Space, because he's been very disappointed that the United States has gotten out of manned space flight. So if people want to check out his information, it's fallfromspace.com. And he's also very concerned about energy. So he was talking about some vulnerabilities of our energy grid, with an EMP pulse, maybe a rocket from a nation that doesn't like us, or a coronal mass ejection, CME. And so he, on that website, he has a letter that you can print, sign, and send to your representative in Washington, D.C. to do something called hardening the grid, so that our grid would withstand any kind of energy bursts like that better. We really don't have that in place like we should, and I know my father talked about stuff like that. I grew up, my dad was a power plant guy, and he said that our grid was not made for efficiency. It was made for control, and right now it's got a lot of vulnerability to it, and it's just silly. We could put technology we have off the shelf already, just implement it more thoroughly. So I would suggest people check that out. Richard Smith was there again. He's become, he and Linda, we sat under our tarp and had a beer together and had a big chat up. It was fun. He runs or one of the people that organizes the New Mexico UFO and Paranormal Forum, which meets in Albuquerque most of the year, just not in the summer. And so Brett and I got to speak there before they convened for took a hiatus for the summer. And that's really become a wonderful networking opportunity for us in New Mexico. We came from Texas. I came from Washington. We didn't know anybody except for Ken, because we came to help Ken Johnston with his books. And so as a result, over time, we've met some amazing people here in New Mexico. It's got it going on as far as ufology and contactee stuff. And what's really cool about New Mexico is because it does have Roswell, which is a huge part of its history, and of course they got the big festival, and it's like a mecca for UFO researchers with the museum and the library that's there. That ufology and aliens and all that stuff is part of the culture here, and not to mention the ancient alien connections to the Native American tribes that are here. So when I would talk about these topics and other places I've lived, I'd get the funny looks and the tinfoil hat jokes and everything, but not so much in New Mexico, because we also have wide open skies, and it's very common for people to see all kinds of weird stuff. We've got Dulce here, we've got bases here. It's possible we're seeing experimental craft. It's hard to say. Brett's fairly certain he saw some experimental craft in recent months. And so it's a topic of conversation, and people tell their stories. And so when we say, we do, this kind of research, people just want to tell us their story, man. It's not a ha-ha thing. They take it seriously. People want to ask us a lot of questions. And so as a result, we've got this wonderful network of people that we've met. Another speaker up there was, or speakers, there was two of them, was Hannah and Mary. Mary and Hannah is a mother-daughter contactee team, and they have a group that meets up in Albuquerque. We're going to be checking out at the end of the month, a monthly meeting for experiencers, and kind of in the realm of the spirituality and energy aspects of it. And they were amazing. They're like... me and my mom do the same thing. They talk almost as one person, and they finish each other's sentences, and they're just a hoot. And very knowledgeable. And then they've got a book out. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but if people want to check out that whole roster, you can go. I believe they still have it on UFOWatchtowerEvents.com. I believe they still have all that information up. I was trying to think of who else was speaking. We had Larry Messeline, which is related to Judy, the organizer. I think it's her son, who did a wonderful closing ceremony with a sacred circle, so that was really awesome. Trying to think of everybody. I think that was everybody I can think of who spoke. We did have a replacement person, but I didn't hear him. So anyway, we were supposed to have Will Champion, and we had another guy who stepped in when Will couldn't make it. So I got a chance to meet, and since it's right over the border, so you go up from where we're sort of south of Albuquerque. You take the highway up, cross the border, go past the big mountain there, and it's in the San Luis Valley up there in Hooper, Colorado. So we had New Mexico people and we had Colorado people kind of putting it on, and so I got to meet, more like local people that we could go visit and interact with. So Brett and I have really been trying to learn the local, circuit and what events are going on. And again, if I'm going to be just really upset if they have it at the same time as the Yelm one, because I'm likely to go to the Yelm one, and we'll have to split track it like Brett and I did Dulce. And they got to stop having these things at the same time, because I know Travis had to hustle between Dulce and Roswell, or the other way around. These speakers get in demand, and there's only so many of us, and there's only so many, things that people can go to. They definitely need to coordinate schedules, but, it's bound to have things line up, just because, frankly, all of these events that we're talking about were well attended. Great audiences asking questions. We had experiencer sessions at, I think there was experiencer sessions at the Roswell one. Might have been done. I don't recall who did that, but I didn't go to it. But I knew that they had that. There was the experiencer sessions at this one, and boy, they were really awesome. I know UFO Congress has that, so that's becoming a sidebar important aspect of all of these, and I think that's fantastic. It gives a chance for, Yvonne Smith did the one at the museum, I believe. I think we're just growing leaps and bounds. My landlord loves to tell us all the shows. See, we don't have cable. We're always researching, so it's just as well that except I'd love to watch Game of Thrones as it's now in a new season. That's the only thing I'm hooked on. But there's all these programs. I guess you could call it soft disclosure, which we've been told was going to happen. Star Trek was soft disclosure. All these sci-fi things are revealing. It's like they're telling what's going on around the galaxy in story format, so that one day when it kind of dawns on us that we're in a populated cosmos, we'll actually know something about it. So I predict, and I don't even have to be, psychic to predict this, just based on what I can see, is this is just going to explode and keep going. That there's more and more events, there's more and more forums. I'm seeing experiencer groups making a connection and happening. This is a big deal. It's like coming to a different level this year.
And I wanted to, with that, this is a good lead into where to go next, and I'd like to, kind of fast forward to the end of this year. Now, I sure what's going on. Let me see. But I know there's the one that Paula Harris is doing, and I'm still not sure if I'm going. That's in at the Aquarius Hotel in Laughlin, Nevada. But this month, I just found out, and if you don't mind, I'd like to bring on Alexandra, if she's there, to tell us about this one. This apparently, there's at least a woman or two or three people that have come up from Agartha, from from down below, and they are from this society of people that are have a different civilization and worldview. So let me see if this is Alexandra. Aloha. Wait 1 second. There we go.
Hi, everybody.
So, Alexandra, would you tell everybody about who you are and about this conference that's coming up and what are the dates and the website and all that good stuff?
Yeah. Hi, guys. My name is Alexandra, and I welcome everybody on the show. Great job. I've been a long-time peace emissary, and I'm just launching a book called Create Paradise. And I was speaking with Janet about this Agarthan conference. It's coming up in New York on the 25th, 26th, and the 27th.
Can you tell us a little bit about who these people are that are presenting Agarthan Conference New York? I'm pulling up. Is there a website link that you have, or I'll see if I can pull it up.
Sure. It's Agarthan World Symposium.
Okay. I'm going to pull that up.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about who the speakers are? And
Sure. Well, Tamarinda. Her name is Tamarinda Mason.
Yeah.
And at age 7, she came up to the surface. And she's from Romania. And she talks about the entrance into the Hollow Earth that's in the country of Romania. So she has a modern-day mystery school there. And I did contact her to see if she would be able to come on the radio show and speak to your audience, which would be great. And I've also hosted shows with Zora, who's also from the Hollow Earth. Your audience may be familiar with Zora of the Hollow Earth.
Oh yeah, Zora.
Yeah. And with all these great conferences, that are being hosted, and the wonderful conference that Janet just went to, it's, and all of you guys are supporting on the show. Janet and I were having this conversation, and it's just the momentum is picking up for disclosures, really coming out so that people know the Hollow Earth is real and that every disease is curable. And we were talking last night about how life is eternal, and we are all immortal. And, you can claim that by simply saying life is eternal, I am immortal, and I know it. And you can claim your perfect health. So, we were doing this exercise last night, but you can just reach up, above your head, stretch your arms out up to the sky, and then slowly do a countdown. You can say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I receive perfect health. I know life is eternal and I am immortal. And you claim it, and then you're bringing in your highest aspects of yourself into your physical body, and you can heal yourselves and put yourself, into this love cocoon when you're sleeping and even during the day, because we have the power to heal ourselves, and so it's lining up with the highest aspect of yourself and claiming who you are as a light being in the physical body, and then activating every cell in your body by proclaiming your perfect health. And you can say, I receive pure love, and you touch your heart, and say that the Lord God, Goddess of my being, receives pure love. And you claim your health and your wellness. And so this, there's some simple techniques, and we could talk about them today, or whatever would be most helpful, because the old paradigm is sickness and destruction. That's like the past. And the new paradigm is the divine feminine and masculine is one, creating paradise on this earth. And we have everything. Above us, our galactic family and the Confederation of Peaceful Worlds. And then we have the Hollow Earth and Telosian and Inner Earth Agarthans. And they're praying for us, and sending love and light in the heart of Mother God, Father God, pulsating pure love, constantly to us from above, from below, and then connecting with the hearts of every man, woman, and child on the surface. So it's some call it energy soup, but you can just go outside and stand next to a tree and lean up against a tree. And I mean, the things like, if you're experiencing any kind of chronic pain, anything that isn't comfortable, you can say, I touch your heart and say, I receive pure love. This served its purpose. I recognize it, but I'm not going to, it doesn't belong to me anymore. And you can say, I let this go, whatever it is that's been troubling you or causing you any kind of discomfort. Now, this could be emotional pain. It could be a heartache or grief or loss, or it could, that manifests into something physical in your body, or you've lived somewhere where there were toxins and things in the air. We can clear the chemtrails. We can clear the water, everything through our intention and by claiming it as so, and then working together with our, the Confederation of Peaceful Worlds. There's so much blessing right now to help elevate the planet into one of health and happiness, because it's like we're saying that old paradigm does not belong. There's enough prosperity for every man, woman, and child to be healthy and happy and to live in joy and in beauty and abundance, because that's Mother Earth's gift to us. And it's it's like we're living on this earth, inside the hollow earth. It's already paradise. And can we meet? We're meeting in the middle because we're up here on the surface. And then we've got our galactic family. And if you step outside at night, you can see in the air, you can see it, the violet flame in the stars. You can look up and connect with the ships. And they're sending also the blue rays, which take away any chronic pain. So if you lean up against a tree and you've got something that's been bothering you, you can just say, I release this, and touch your heart and say, I receive pure love. And then, again, you just claim, the Lord God, Goddess of my being, receives pure love, and I accept perfect health, perfect immunity. And I know it. And
wonderful.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a couple questions about this conference?
Yes.
And what you know about the presenters?
Sure.
So, how does Tamarind, I don't know what I want to say, prove, or how does she verify that she is who she said? Because anybody can say they're from anywhere. Is there how do these people, what do they do to show that they are as they say they are, that they are from the inner earth, from Agartha?
Yeah, well, now this event is going to be live streamed, and they're actually they're going to be in the Garden City. It takes place in Garden City, New York. So,
right.
For those who can make it, they can meet her in person. They're willing to answer any questions of the audience, and then they're going to have.
On the YouTube I saw about Billy.
Pardon me?
Billy, I watched some of Billy's YouTubes, and she had extreme intelligence to the point where they took her as a child into, Area 51 or something, and quickly promoted her to higher and higher ranks so she would have more and more clearance to go deeper into the facilities. So she went to the train that's under, the underground train that goes around the whole planet, basically. But I first learned about the underground train. It's not really a train. It's just like a high-speed transportation. I heard about that when I read the books on Montauk, that it goes from New York to the West Coast, California somewhere, and you can go you can go there in an hour. You're always got to. So you could literally, go to work over there during the day and come home back to New York and home to your wife and kids and not miss a beat. So that's where I first heard about that. I heard that Enki, the last place Enki was seen was at Mount Shasta, and there's a portal to the train and the guards are there as well. So you were saying that Tamarinda Mason, how do you pronounce it? Mason, Maassen. Do you know how to pronounce that?
I think you pronounced it correctly. Yeah.
Mason. So it looks like she is somehow connected with that Bosnian pyramid and the Bosnian Sphinx, which is part of Peter Moon's research. Peter, I have to get him on again. He's coming back every year and giving us updates on his research. He goes every summer. He's probably going on there. He's probably over there now. He goes in August every year. He actually married he fell in love with a woman that he met during all this journeys, and they got married. So there's that Bosnian Sphinx in the depiction, and Agartha to Humanity World Symposium. So, and you've heard Tamarinda's interviews, or what do you know about Tamarinda?
Yeah, well, I know that she's been living in Romania, and she talks about the entrance into the Hollow Earth, and same like with Zora as far as Diane Robbins and her books. For anybody who's new to all this, they can read Diane Robbins' books on the Hollow Earth and on Telos. But what's exciting is Tamarinda. I'm trained also on how to help people heal themselves, and there's a lot. Janet and I were talking about the Ascension Center in Hawaii. There's an Ascension Center in Florida. What's neat is it's coming back into your own abilities as an unlimited creator being, and that means you can create a healthy, happy life for yourself. That you can tap into your ability to during your meditation to learn more about the Hollow Earth, and find out for your. It's like being an investigator yourself, because you can hear about different theories, but of course it's great to experience it yourself. And so, but we really would love for people to know during this year of 2017 that this is the year of galactic disclosures. And, Dr. Greer is really pioneering his work. Each and everybody, Corey Good, Janet and I had a conversation about Corey Good and, the Nordic race of beings. So it's, we just feel that it's time now because where the Earth is located in the photon belt, that all these voices of love, really we come with profound love and we come with gifts because we recognize each and every person on this planet they have the ability to heal themselves, and we just kind of come as a reminder to say, hey, guess what? We're part of something incredible. We're part of an amazing paradise Earth that not only has a surface planet, which, the DNA has been attacked on the surface, and they had many problems throughout our history, our cosmic history, but this is a time of celebration because we have everything to repair the surface, to bring back peace, prosperity, and freedom and health, and that's really what it's all about, So
I want to give Karen a chance to talk to you and maybe ask a few questions. Karen, would you like to speak to Alexandra and ask her a question or two?
Oh, yeah. I've kind of gone in, Brett and I have gone into some research into what's kind of also called the underworld. In Romania, we ran into a document called Prehistoric Dossier, or in the original Romanian, it's Dossier Prehistorica, and it was written by a gentleman about 100 years ago named Nicolae Densusianu, and it's really fascinating because he's giving a lot of references to this interaction from underground to above ground in Romania, and one of the main references that he talks about is the missing empire out of our history, the Pelagian Empire, and the progenitor of the Pelagian Empire was a ancestor named Pelage, and his name meant born from the black earth. So obviously he emerged from the underground. I was wondering if anybody had really been tracking that, because it ties in. We found ties in to the Pelagian Empire also in Albania. And we've had contact with researchers in linguistics related to this. There really is an interaction here where I live in New Mexico with the underground, the underworld, the hollow earth. There's really quite a story there. Not to put a pun to it, but it's been underground. It's been hidden, and it's quite extensive when you start digging into it. And I was wondering if you guys had kind of tracked that story at all about Nicolae Densusianu.
I'm not familiar with that story. That is it's fun. It is fun. We want to bring in the humor too, keep things lighthearted, because it's right beneath our feet, and people are often looking for heaven or paradise somewhere else. They want to go there. But they don't realize that, it's actually within them, and then there is heaven on earth within the hollow earth. So I love to share, these stories and Admiral Byrd's journey, and, anything that can spark people's imagination, because there's a part of them that knows it, because they came here, and they know. It's returning to the heart of God. It's returning to love again within themselves, and then that love is also reflected, in this golden era that we're sharing now. So it really is a time of peace, health, freedom, and prosperity. And I feel the true prosperity is learning about how magnificent this earth is, what a treasure it is, the earth. And, for those on the surface, that they can heal whatever they've gone through. They can heal it and come back to their joy and live, a healthy, happy life. So, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about your experience. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
What does this mean for the surface dwellers that Alexandra and that other, what was the name, and then Billy, that these people are coming forth with their stories? Are they ready to come out? I certainly, some of them are 8 to 12 feet tall. I'd like to see something that is so dramatic that it will kind of wake up the world and say, oh, these people are not human, or they're enhanced humans, or they're beyond human. But Billy and Camarinda, they look human. They look like us, and so I understand they need to look like us to pass and walk among us. But I understand that that's kind of like a projection type body, like an avatar, and that their real form is, at least from Billy's account, his real form is much taller and perhaps more majestic or royal looking than the average human form, especially the ones in which they appear. Do you have any insight to that?
Yeah. Well, what's neat is reaching a state of immortality and youthfulness is something we can all tap into on the surface also. And so, but what I feel like is I agree with you that this year the momentum is building for truths about many things, surfacing. And because their air and their water and their food is pure, and they stay totally vibrant. For instance, Billy's father is younger and more youthful looking than his son-daughter on the surface. And but what's awesome is we can also energize our foods and our bodies and our ability of positive thinking, and proclaim our perfect health, and you can start to reverse your age and basically pick an age that you want to be and revive every cell in your body. Just a simple thing like even your eyes. You can rub your hands together really fast for about 30 seconds, and you'll start to feel the heat in between your hands, and that is your power and your own energy within yourself. And then you draw your hands apart about 18 inches, and it's like you could feel a ball between your hands. And then you cup your hands, or you cup your hands right over your eyes for about 30 seconds. And then you say, the Lord God of my being receives perfect eyesight. And you're sending positive energy to heal your eyes. and so, but basically you can use these techniques to heal any part of your body and restore every cell, tissue, organ, and muscle within your own self. So it is like awakening the avatar spirit in those on the call and each and every one, on the planet, to realize that, yes, you are star-seeded. Yes, you are part of something much greater than you may have realized. And 2017 is the year of galactic disclosure, which really means people coming back into feeling healthy and vibrant and living on an earth where the prosperity is shared, And we have everything, Lemurian technologies to clean up the water, the food, so that people can stay healthy and happy. So I think that's exciting. The other neat thing is when I spoke to Zora, I asked him about what would the impact if people on the surface really embraced a vegan lifestyle. And he said paradise, the entire surface would turn into paradise. And, I grew up with the meat, dairy, egg, standard American diet, they call it, SAD, S-A-D, and the anxiety and the fear of the animals, the fish also, if they're, slaughtered, they feel that fear and anxiety. And I'm co-authoring a book with Dr. Vishan Ali of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, and he touches upon every aspect of the unhealthy fats. Because even, I grew up, fish on Friday, chicken is a lean meat. Of course, they're not really. And aside from them being, feeling sentient, for the dog and pet owners out there, we all love our pets and animals. They're like angels in fur coats. And so, within the hollow earth, that's the other thing, is all the animals are living in harmony and peace with the people. So they're all actually vegan inside the hollow earth, and they all can speak telepathically with each other. So the Physicians Committee is, their website is pcrm.org, and this is just so, present and future generations know without a doubt, heart disease, 100% preventable, cancer, 100% preventable. We all thought those things were normal, and losing our loved ones to those things was normal, but it's not. Meat, any kind of meat, even the fish and lean chicken and lean, things labeled lean, when they have animal flesh, they don't have healthy fats. So, but they get into the addictive nature of cheese, addictive nature of the meats, and so. But it's when you realize that you can say, I touch your heart, say I receive pure love, perfect health, perfect immunity, and it'll be much easier to swap out, something that is plant-based. And in so doing, it's like there's so much, like in Hawaii, it's the paradise vortex. In Costa Rica, any tropical place, and the earth used to be tropical. If we get into the time of Atlantis, it was a beautiful tropical paradise. And so all the fruits, are delicious, and they're actually natural bliss. They used to call it the foods of the gods. And so you can eat olives and avocado and, really in the summertime, melons and watermelons and all these delicious fruits. And that helps to bring all your cells back alive again. So when we talk about the dark ages of death, destruction, disease, then we come back to this is the time of the Renaissance age, celebration, perfect health, immunity, ageless beauty, celebrating with joy and abundance. Then you put the foods of the gods on the table, all the fruits and the vegetables and everything that's life-giving and also life-sparing creates immortality. So it's like the tree of life really does come from the trees. And we're talking about bringing in the humor, but it really does. The beauty of the trees providing us with fresh air, with beautiful foods to eat. And those foods are filled with living enzymes and the life force energy that actually nourishes your body to be disease-free. So, but that website, PCRM, they've been on this for 30 years to bring in a standard of healthy living into the United States to protect the children of this country, and to really support a cancer-free society. And they can help adults and children be free of diabetes. There's, it's proven within 30 days through the Tree of Life Rejuvenation Center, Dr. Gabriel Cousins, that any man, woman, or child can reverse their diabetes in 30 days or less. So,
I'm going to go into the depth like you're going in today. It's really good. We're doing an overview today, but we're going to do more exploration to all this stuff. Today we were just kind of focusing on an overview of the conferences that were coming. So Tamarinda is going to be speaking and addressing these things. I'm looking at the website. It appears she's going to be talking Friday, Saturday, Sunday during the mornings. I know we're running out of time, and I want to give Karen, I want to pass the talking stick back to Karen, because I know she has things she wanted to cover today. She's the primary host today. But thank you so much, Sandra. We will have you on another show. We'll go into this in great detail. We're going to bring in perhaps Billy, and I'm not sure who all you'll be able to bring into the show, but we will focus a couple of shows on this subject and go into it in great depth, okay? But
yeah.
I'm going to pass it back to Karen. Thank you so much.
Oh, I just had one more question, and it had to do with I know when people talk about disclosure, because you alluded to Stephen Greer, when they talk about disclosure, there had been some talk that probably the first disclosure item of note would be starting with the fact that we share a planet with an underground, civilization. And I was wondering if you had any more information on that, because I think that seems very logical.
Yeah, I did also mention Diane Robbins for newbies to this topic. Her DianeRobbins.com and her series of books are a great starting point. And that's there's a book called Hollow Earth, and there's also a book called Telos, and that one also, they both get into first contact and the amazing beauty of this planet. So, and also, they touch upon health and immortality. So I feel like everybody has their piece of the puzzle, and it's great to put that puzzle together and, realize that we really are living on a paradise Earth. So Diane Robbins' books are a great introduction, I would say, for anybody to read. And,
is it Robbins or like a bird robins? Robbins.
Robbins. Yep.
Okay. Thanks for that. Yeah, because we keep bumping into the underground story in our own research on ancient history and races and bases all over the planet. It's really a story that brings us up to the present day. It's not an ancient alien thing at all. It's all the way up to the present day. Someone we know had an encounter with a lizard type being. So there's other ET type races of all kinds also involved in the underground story, and that's also part of the story that Brett Colin Shepard was talking about earlier. So this story keeps popping up, for lack of a better way to put it. And I think it would make the most sense. It'd be really beautiful to know that we have our cousins probably just below us, and it would really be great to have an interchange. And for us here on the surface, to lose our scarcity mindedness, which seems to be the root of almost all of our problems, and so I think an exchange of ideas and exchange of technology and healing modalities would definitely help us. I think maybe most people are even more ready to receive it than ever before. So with that, I want to thank you, and please bring some more people. We'd love to talk to them. This is always a topic of interest, and definitely want to support conferences like yours.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. And, just today I was in touch with Judy Bybee. So I just, people can also take a peek at judybybee.com and know that we have everything on the surface now also to help heal your heart if you've experienced emotional pains, grief, or sorrow, and to heal your physical strength and, bring hope and spread that hope around the globe to every man, woman, and child. So I really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having the show. And I wish everyone an amazing 2017.
Well, we're halfway through, and it looks good. It looks good because there's been so much information coming out and people attending these conferences and more whistleblowers coming out. I mean, I feel more encouraged now than I did at the beginning of the year. It's amazing.
Yeah, good. That's good.
It's important. Start.
I know it's been because people don't realize that the human DNA was attacked. They don't know that, and that pain isn't really normal. And so, to uplift this earth into one of celebration, I do feel that all these conferences are helping, spread these technologies, and people have that ability within themselves, which is even better. That they can be part of it, to just regain their joy and realize that this earth is filled with abundance. It's right there, and we have the technology to repair the water and everything else.
That's the truth. Yes, I agree. Thank you so much for coming, and like I said, bring some more people and yourself back.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Namaste.
Thank you.
Peace and aloha.
Blessings. Yeah.
Aloha. So we
have about 11 minutes. Janet, is there anything you wanted to mention before the end of the show about? I know that we've worked on books together. If you want to talk about books that are coming out or that you've just done real quick, and I know people can go to aquarian.com for a lot of that information. And now Brett and I have a portalsofknowing.com with our books and author friends, and we're we're making Aquarian Network a network by adding some new shows here in the future.
Well, we just finished Marduk book 4 of the Anunnaki series. We're going to be working on a couple more books in the Anunnaki series. I'm focusing on a Nimba story. I have a new person. I haven't quite signed the contracts, but somebody's going to help us edit. You know, when you get really close to the material, you can't see your mistakes anymore, and you're not objective. So we finally have drawn into our lives a really good editor that's going to help us, and also a researcher. Because some of these things that we're dealing with the Anunnaki stories, and even going back into more ancient times with the prehistory before the Anunnaki came here, we need to research and compare the different historical records against the the ruins, archaeological digs and ruins, and that takes a whole team. So we got a third person coming on board to help us. So I think we're going to be producing 2 or 3, maybe 4, maybe even 5 books a year, because we ain't getting any younger, and we need to get this out there while we can.
Oh, you guys are quite the team. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important. We kind of take our work seriously, because Zechariah Sitchin passed his baton on to us. So that's like that's a big responsibility there. I feel compelled, and it's my job. It's why I came to this earth, is to get that piece out. And we received so much positive feedback on the road, and Sasha has a very comprehensive PowerPoint that he's created. You didn't even see. You saw a little snippet of it. But when you go through the logic of this, we had a priest there, and this guy, a very sweet spiritual man, Michal, he was like blown away. He said, "Oh my God, we're in worse shape than I thought." But the Vatican knows all. The Vatican knows all this. We were covering that, and this is what Michal was somehow involved with the Eisenhower. Once Eisenhower signed this contract, they went over to the Vatican, and they met several times. He's met several times with the Pope, and Michal was somehow involved with those meetings, or aware of the people that were in this meeting. Anyway, he's somehow in that loop there. The other book we did is Tantra for All Chakras, which is picking up our Tantra piece, and we've been having so much fun. It's one of the things that Sasha loves to do is therapy, counseling, hypnosis, and so the experiencer phenomena is allowing us to do more hypnosis. But going full circle with the Tantra education, we're going to go to Austin in October and the first week in November and work with all these couples that need counseling on their relationships. So he's back doing some couples relationship counseling, which is his expertise on bonding patterns. And sometimes I even get to work with people as well. I'm kind of doing all the admin and that type of stuff, but I love it when I get to sit into their regression, into their subconscious and their psyche and their issues, and helping them heal and clear, and especially teaching people how to do it for themselves and with other people. So that's kind of the last word that I want to have. It's okay if we end early, but why don't you take the ball and end the show and tell everybody about your projects. And everything's available on Amazon.com. Just Google Janet and Sasha, Sasha, Lessin, Lessin, books, put books, go into Amazon and search in there, and you'll see all these books we've written, and we have more to come. Okay, Karen.
Yeah, and if you can't remember that, AquarianRadio.com also links to your books, too. I've got several of them. I've got this, after all these conferences, I have this huge reading list now. You guys are at the top. So I've already started the Marduk one. It's pretty good. I got the old cover, so it'll be a collector's item. So that's great.
Yes.
Brett and I are involved in getting a website launched called portalsofknowing.com. And that's kind of where we're going to have a one-stop shop for anything that we're dealing with. Some of the resources will have our books. It has a list of our author friends. We have an amazing resource library. We really brought all the kinds of resources of websites and things that we have used in our own research and brought them there. We started a podcast, which is right now just a little short one, on Spreaker. Everything's under portalsofknowing.com, and some of the episodes of these just little short ones that I talk about, experiencer path philosophy. And also we're going to be having a longer show, which is going to include more of our research. And Brett is giving birth to a book, as you know how that works, in the last editing stages, and trying to get it done before we speak at the film festival in Gallup, New Mexico, called Digital Moon, and it's his composite of all of his information of how he got involved in anomaly research, how we got involved with Ken, how we got involved in looking at lunar images, and how he found his embedded imagery, and some of his personal story, including his time anomaly, which is kind of a huge deal for him. And I'm just belaboring on the website and belaboring on the podcast. I want to get into the podcast thing because I think it's kind of cool. And I would, but we also possibly have another, well, I'm going to talk about it right now too much, but we possibly have another show with you and me, Janet, and some other conversationalists with a panel type show that I hope will be way more in depth, and I've got a list of amazing potential guest panelists and the music playing. So thanks, everyone, for listening. Love and blessings to everyone, and have a great weekend.
Aloha.
Thank you for listening to Aquarian Radio Friday nights, The Experiencer Path. Thanks to the artists from freemusicarchive.org, Ketsa for Live With No Fear, and Scott Holmes, Mother Nature. You have been listening to the Aquarian Radio Network.
Want entertainment designed just for you? Then check out customizable streaming TV from Xfinity. It makes your life simple, easy, awesome.
Xfinity gives you customizable streaming TV options. Enjoy the most free shows anywhere on any device, and even access your streaming apps right on your TV with X1. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today to learn more. Restrictions apply.